dialogue, and we want to hear the voices. Really, what this meeting is about. We've asked our wonderful officials to be as brief as possible so that really we could get to the real part of this. But before I get there, I really want you to join me in something. I'd like to have about 20 to 25 seconds of silence for the life of Mr. Ford. It's not lost in everything here that a human life was lost. I don't think, and I don't speak, I hope I don't speak incorrectly, but no one wakes up in the morning thinking that they're going to go and take someone's life. And so I hope that that's really right. But so can you join me in about 25 seconds of silence for the life of Ezell Ford? Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I want to also again acknowledge the family who's here, and also that we're here. Also thanking Reverend Kyle Walker for opening his doors to us. Here's how it's going to go. Yeah, you've been through this. Some of you have been to meetings that have been facilitated by the Human Relations Commission of the city. So what we want to do is we're going to have folks speak. We have a lineup here of folks, including Chief of Police back. And then we're going to have really about an hour to do our question. What we don't want is, I understand emotions are high and tensions might be high in the community because of what's going on in the country as well. So what we want to do is we want to create sort of a dialogue. So when it gets out of hand, I'm going to be the heavy. It's okay. You can be mad at me. I want to just, so we can keep civility going. We want that to be sort of what happens here tonight. I see a very quiet room, so I fear that whatever I say here, ground rules are that you're going to just express yourself. I would be lamentable that we're in the house of worship and we succumb to uncivil discourse and dialogue. So I fear that, I'm confident that this is what's going to happen. So without further ado, our first speaker is the Chief of Police for the Los Angeles Police Department, Chief Charlie Beck.
Well, first, good evening. And thank you for being here. The loss of any human life, particularly this life, is tragic. It's doubly tragic when it happens at the hands of a law enforcement officer. And let me explain. Police officers don't come to work thinking that they're going to have to use deadly force. Nobody wants that. The people of this city want their police officers to avoid the use of deadly force, if at all possible. This police chief wants the same. So whenever an individual loses his life to actions of a police officer, all of us are affected. Because we wonder the same thing. Was it necessary? Was it justified? Was there another way? Today, as I stand before you, there are still more questions than answered in the death of Ezell Ford. We still have much investigation to do. One of the primary reasons I come before you tonight is to ask for your help in doing that. We strongly believe that there are individuals in this community that have more information to give. We strongly believe that there are strong witnesses that can still come forward and shed light on events. We are in great need of that. Because I want exactly what you want. I want exactly what all the people that came here tonight in what can be a very uncomfortable situation to speak to you want. And that is the truth. That is the truth about what happened to come out. The Los Angeles Police Department, the Police Commission, the Inspector General, the District Attorney's Office, the U.S. Attorney's Office, we all want the same thing, for the truth to come out. And I know what that exactly everybody in this audience wants. So please work with me. If you know somebody that knows something, have them come forward. If you're not comfortable talking to a Los Angeles police officer, the District Attorney's Office is represented here, as is our Inspector General. We need people to come forward. A couple of things I want to talk about that I know are on people's minds. One, the autopsy report. As I stand here right now, the autopsy report has not been completed. We are going to put a temporary hold on it when it is completed in order that we don't influence the witnesses that have not come forward's accounts. That hold will be released when we are confident that we have obtained the statements of witnesses. We have no intention of holding that information beyond a time that's reasonable. I know the family is very concerned about the release of the remains. I talked to the investigator tonight. We're going to facilitate that through the coroner's office. It's very important to me that the family be able to grieve properly and that this community be able to grieve properly. So we'll facilitate that. I also promise you that we will do as transparent and as rapid an investigation as is humanly possible in this circumstance. We will also make that investigation public after the review of the district attorney, after the review of the police commission and the inspector general. Matter of fact, a written synopsis of the investigation will be released through the office of the inspector general, and it will be public for all to see. We want the truth just as you want the truth. And we will do everything we can in order to get it. We also want this to be an investigation that is free from bias on both sides. I ask you to want the same thing. I ask you not to rush to judgment, just as we will not. I ask you not to demonize the individuals involved, just as we will not. The truth can be a difficult thing, but it is worth pursuing. This is a great community. I've served it all my adult life. I intend to serve it much longer. And I do it for that reason. Because what happens here matters to me. What happens here is important to me. And the way you feel about your police department is of utmost importance to me. And we will work through this together. We will show people that Los Angeles has a better way. That Los Angeles recognizes how difficult it can be in a major city with 4 million people and the violence that we all face every day. But how do we get through it? We get through it together. We make this a better place than we came into. A better place for our children, and a better place for our friends and our family. I will close, but let me say this first. You will ask questions today to which I do not have an absolute answer. That does not mean that I will not get one. That does not mean that the investigation will not reveal the truth. That just means that I won't give you a partial response to something that I'm not sure of. I won't give you half a story. I won't just rely on a week's worth of investigation to tell this community what is so important for them to hear. We will find the truth, and we'll do it together. Thank you all very much. God bless everybody. God bless the families. My heart breaks for you. But remember, this is equally hard on both sides. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And now up to the podium to get through the rest of the presentations is Commissioner President Steve Sobral from the Los Angeles Police Commission.
Thank you for allowing me to come tonight. I love kids. I love hearing the babies in the background. We have 5 children, and the loss of a child to me is impossible to comprehend until impossible. So I have 2 messages. The Los Angeles Police Department, and if you look at the organization chart, you'll see is a big organization. But it is overseen by a civilian group of police commissioners. We don't work for the Los Angeles Police Department. The federal government in the consent decree gave us responsibilities, which we take very seriously. So does the charter. We have an inspector general who's here. It doesn't work for the police department. He and his 44 or 45 investigators work for us. And what I'm here to promise you is that what he's going to do on this case is what he would do if, God forbid, it was one of mine. He's going to have the authority and the ability to find out the truth. As I listen to the news from around the country, it's sort of like sports. Everybody's an expert in this right now, in what other people should do. But very few talk about what they should do or how they can help. And what I want to tell you tonight is not about what other people should do, but about what we should do. This is a department that does community policing better than any department in America. It has programs and programs and programs. Cadet programs, it has library programs, park programs, etc. But that's not meaningful if it's not what you see. So we've got to work harder. We've got to work harder, not just to get to the truth in this case, or any case, because that's our job. But if the perception is that we aren't out there being community members and community police officers, then this commission, which oversees this department, is going to make damn sure we double down on these programs. We're going to invite philanthropy, we're going to invite religious leaders, we're going to invite community leaders to do that and provide the alternatives. So someday we can come in a room like this where the perception, I hope, and the reasons for the meeting, I hope, are in a much more positive manner. Thank you for allowing me to come.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Sobral. And now we're going to hear from our Inspector General, Alex Bustamante. Alex?
Good evening. Thank you for having me here. I think Commissioner Silveroff it was very important for him to describe my office because so many people don't understand what the Office of Inspector General does. What's unique about LAPD is we have my office, the Office of Inspector General that has, under the city charter, the ability to look at every document, every video, every audio recording, the ability to go into any department, the ability to actually investigate for any reason whatsoever and compel officers to make statements to us. And what's unique about my office is that all the investigators in my office do not work for LAPD. They work for me and they work for the commission. So what we do is, on this use of force and any other use of force, is we look from the very beginning of when the incident occurred all the way to the end, and we examine everything. We work with the department, but what we're responsible for doing and what I'm specifically charged with doing is being very critical of the department and looking at everything that happens in any use of force, and then telling my bosses were there any deficiencies or were there any issues that require additional investigation. So what I can promise you is in this case, just like I do in every other case, that every issue, every witness, every question is going to be answered. And then I'm going to provide that information to the commission so they can properly adjudicate this case. And I'm going to make sure that everything that is relevant to this investigation is thoroughly investigated, and that whatever the facts are, whether they're good for the department or bad for the department, whatever they may be, are going to be accurately presented to the commission for their review of this incident. Now I want to give a little more background on what my office does. So I have about 40 investigators, and what they do is they look at everything in the department from risk management to use of force. And we go through and examine everything, looking for issues and looking for problems, so that I can give the best information possible to my bosses so that they can lead the department and improve the department where necessary. My charter, what I've been told by my commissioners, is on this particular case to make sure that everything, all witnesses, all statements, all evidence is properly received and reviewed so that we know exactly what happened that day. And we know what caused the shooting. We know if there are any issues with the police officers. We know that there were any issues with anybody else. And then examine those things from the cradle to the grave and give them the most accurate picture possible. And that's what I'm going to do, and I do that in every case. And the chief was absolutely correct. When we're done and after the commission has adjudicated this matter, we'll put the facts up on our website so you can see exactly what we found and what the commission reviewed in coming to its conclusion. So I look forward to answering any questions anybody has. I don't want to speak much longer because I think it's very important to hear from you. And very important to give you an opportunity to talk and ask us questions so we can have a meaningful dialogue. But I'll be here the whole time, and I will also stay a little bit later to answer any questions that anybody has. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bustamante. Our last speaker for this evening, I just want to also make mention that Deputy Chief Earl Pasinger operations, takes care of operations for LAPD is here, but he chose just to answer your questions and address your questions tonight. So thank you, Chief, for being here. Also, we have Head Deputy District Attorney James Garrison with us tonight, who will explain exactly what the role of the District Attorney is in cases like this.
Good evening. My name is James Garrison. I'm the Head Deputy of the Justice System Integrity Division of the District Attorney's Office. First of all, thank you for inviting me here this evening for something very, very important. Many of you may not know what role the District Attorney's Office plays in an officer-involved shooting. For almost 20 years now, the District Attorney's Office has had a program where in every officer-involved shooting where a person is struck by a bullet, whether the person dies or doesn't die, we roll out, meaning a DA and a DA investigator go out to the scene of the crime, the scene of the shooting, and do their independent investigation. The scene of the shooting. The DA investigator will interview witnesses along with the DA and do their own separate reports, and then we wait for the investigation to be completed by whatever agency was involved in the shooting, and we then do our own independent investigation and come with our own independent conclusions as an independent agency to provide prosecutorial oversight regarding the incident. And that's what we're going to do in this case. We haven't received any of the investigation from the Los Angeles Police Department. As Chief Beck indicated, it's only been a week, and these things sometimes take time. But at the end of the investigation, we do our own investigation, and we come out with a public document that explains exactly our analysis of the incident. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garrison. And now we come to the portion of the, so thank these gentlemen for being here tonight and giving us updates. I do want to make one correction. I demoted, I called Deputy Chief a Paysinger, but he's Assistant Chief, and he's in charge of all uniformed personnel for the department. That's over 10,000 people. That's a lot of people, a lot of uniforms. Let's go to our portion of the program now. I'm going to ask Sheldon. Sheldon Cruz to go to the middle of the aisle here, and we're going to have our first folks address any concerns that they have, questions. And Sheldon, if you could go right to the middle.
No problem. We're going to ask if the media can exchange with me so we can get as many folks lined up as possible to ask questions and get your comments on.
Can we do this first, just for the order of things? Can we have the family of Mr. Ford be the first people to address this group of folks, just out of respect? And then, of course, we know that the Youth Justice Coalition is here as well, so I want to make that. Right. This is the family here, right?
How many families?
So I know there's a lot of folks can't see. If we can now bunch up in the area so that folks can at least keep the aisles semi-clear as we move the question and answer portion of the program forward. Can we get started? Yeah, just out of, okay. Yeah, these are a couple of things.
We're ready.
You got it? You're good? Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Chief Beck and Councilman Price, thank you for your leadership to bring us together tonight. Chief Beck, in Ferguson, Missouri, the police chief there has released the autopsy report in the shooting of Michael Smith, but also, just as important, he's released the officer's name. So my question to you, Chief, is there a timeline for the autopsy report of Ezell Ford to be released to us in our community? And will you release the names of the officers in the shooting death of Ezell Ford? Thank you.
The timeline on the autopsy report, as I said, is dependent upon witnesses coming forward. We don't want to taint the state witnesses by having the autopsy report out, but we will release it, and we want to release it soon. So we need to do that first. That's a strong investigative tactic that needs to be done to make sure that we get to the truth of the matter here. The names of the officers will be released. The Los Angeles Police Department always releases the names of officers involved in shootings. But the first thing we do is we make sure that they're not at risk. So we have some investigative steps to take to make sure that there's no threats against the officers, and then the names will be released. We are one of the few agencies that always releases the names. The names will be released as soon as we have done a proper threat assessment. It depends on circumstances that are sometimes beyond our control, but it shouldn't be long.
Thank you. Can we have the next person ask a question or make a statement, please?
So I just came across a bit of information today about what the chief of police in Chicago just did. He just ordered 18,000 military machine guns with armor-piercing hollow point bullets. And I'm looking at how they're getting down in Ferguson with all the military stuff and all that. I just want to know, in Los Angeles with the LAPD, have you been ordering this type of stuff? Or are you guys coming with the military stuff with us? That's what I want to know. Can you guys be transparent about that? Do you have automatic weapons and armor-piercing bullets and tanks and all that body armor. Plus, I hear that the police department, well, I know for sure in Chicago, is getting trained by Blackwater, who is actually special, mercenaries that train the folks in Iraq. Are you guys getting trained by them as well?
Well, this is not Chicago.
Right.
And I'm not Gary McCarthy, although I know him. So, the answer to that question is, we do have special weapons and tactics in our SWAT team, but they're not regularly deployed in our patrol forces or our gang forces. There is a place for that kind of hardware, but that place is not on a protest line. That place is not in a neighborhood that isn't under siege. A time and a place, just like everything else. It is all about using strategy, understanding when that kind of equipment is appropriate, and only using it then. We have a number of levels of review before we use that kind of equipment. And we make sure that those levels of review are met.
Thank you. Go to the next question, please.
Yes, I have a statement first and a question. I would just like the LAPD to know, to be mindful that people know that there are good police and there are police with their own agendas. But we would like you to be mindful that when good police try to cover up for those with their own agenda, they make the bad police too. By the way, my name is Renard Walker, and I used to play for the Newton Boosters when I was a kid in the early 70s. We respected them because they came around in a paddy wagon and picked us up on 70th and San Pedro and took us to Ross Snyder Park to play flag football. Yeah, Newton Street used to be a good police department when they did that for the young kids in my neighborhood. I would just like to say, why was deadly force used? Why was Ezell Ford not subdued by physical restraint, a taser, pepper spray, or some other means? Because he didn't weigh 100 pounds weight.
Could I just remind speakers and folks who are making comments to, if you are asking a question, could you direct it to a particular entity or individual up here? And if you're making a statement, just make sure that you're saying you're making a statement. Thank you.
And of course, to answer your question, we don't have the answer to that. That is please let me finish. I've been respectful. I expect the same. That is the crux of the investigation. The why. We all know the what. We know the result. Now we need to know the why. And we need to know whether or not that was justifiable under the law. That is what the investigation is about. And that is what the investigation will reveal. And just like I will not stand up here and prejudge Mr. Ford, I ask that we not prejudge these officers until the investigation is completed. It is very important. It is very important that we give each other the respect that we expect.
I'm going to have Alex Bustamante also field that question.
I think these are all very good questions. I think, why did it happen? What was the contact like? Could they have used something else? Why was deadly force used? These are all very important questions. They all need to be answered, and they're going to be answered. I think the issue is we need to make sure that we have, and I know for my office, I want to have all available evidence. I want to have all the witness statements. I want to have all the scientific evidence. I want to have every fact out there because I don't want to rush to judgment because I don't want something slipping through the cracks. I want to have the most thorough investigation possible so that when I come out with a conclusion, and I'm either saying it wasn't a good shooting or it was a good shooting, that I can at least present that evidence to the commission, and they'll have absolutely everything at their disposal. Unfortunately, that takes time. That takes time.
The police department, I kill it. And the city of Los Angeles allows them to kill people. They own the police department. Objection. The city of Los Angeles owns the police department.
I would tell, the point I would like to make is, look at my website, Google my name, look at the Office of Inspector General, look at what we put out, public reports, and the criticisms we've done of the department, and ask whether I pull punches with the department.
How many cops are you prosecuted? Did they go to jail?
If there is an issue in this department at all, I will make sure that it's actually brought out and brought before the commission, and that is something I guarantee. I'm not part of the department. I have no one in my office that is part of the department. I've never worked a day, a minute for LAPD. And my background is a federal prosecutor doing civil rights prosecutions. So I can tell you this. If there is any issue that's there, I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it, and we will do a thorough report. And all I can promise you that is we're going to do a absolute thorough report looking at absolutely everything that happens. Because all the questions you have on whether pepper spray, whether there need to be use of force, the size of him versus the officers, whether they need to contact him at all, what was the basis for the stop, these are all questions that need to be answered, every single one of them.
Next question, please. Comment?
Good evening, Chief Beck and gentlemen. I have more of a statement than a comment. I was actually born in this neighborhood, born and raised. By all measures, I think I've accomplished somewhat. Went to school across town, UCLA, went to school at USC, and came back after law school to live in this neighborhood. But if I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt, I'm just another wetback in this neighborhood. Understand? And I can tell you from personal experience, not too long ago, I was stopped in 47th and Central. I was pulling into the driveway. They were opening up the driveway for me. One of your officers, Chief X, pulls up next to me, throws a spotlight in my face, asks me to get out of the car. They don't do that on the west side, and I'll tell you because I've been on the west side. He asked me what I was doing there. What the hell business is it his what I'm doing there? This is my neighborhood. He tells me he can give me a ticket if he wants. Well, give me a ticket, but have some respect. That is the problem here, Chief Beck. I went to SD, and I can tell you what goes on in those frat houses. But you don't touch those kids because they look like your kids. They look like your kids. They look like your kids. But they're brown, and they're on the ground. I'll tell you from personal experience. The solution, Chief Beck, when your officers get out the car, have them look at the door to protect and to serve, not to kick some ass. Because that is what your officers do. And don't come out here talking about discipline because you can't discipline your daughter and the whole kid.
Okay. That was disrespectful. Again, let me just remind you, folks. Let me just remind everyone. Let me just remind the people that are here. We understand. Everyone understands. This is complex. Hey, everyone. You're all going to get a chance to come up and speak. We are allowing a dialogue to occur, so we need that to happen. Please refrain from personal attacks on anyone, whether it be a community member or whether it be an official. Please. Sheldon, we have our next speaker, please address the audience.
Good evening. My name is Minnie Hadley Hempstead, and I'm the president of the Los Angeles NAACP. And our all of the concern that are coming into our office is this gentleman was not committing a crime, and I understand all he did was walk by himself in the street, did not talk to anyone except himself. And to me, I am thinking, as I expressed to the Inspector General and Police Chief Perez, I think that maybe common sense can be used instead of a gun. I wish that Chief Beck tonight would start thinking about telling his officers on the street, I do not care how a person look, smell, or act, they are a person just like you are. And I would like to see you not have anyone who does these kind of things serve in your department. I'm proud of the Los Angeles Police Department. I've traveled all over the world. You're the sharpest looking group, and you're part of our community, and we are part of yours. We are one team, and we want you to remember, treat everybody with respect. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. Please.
I would like to know, what was the rank of the officers that murdered Ezell Ford? Chief Beck.
The officers involved in the shooting were police officers. They're basic level police officers.
Please.
Thank you. Okay, I have a statement and I also have a question for Chief Becker. I think it's the district attorney. I know being a former gang member, you have ranks. You know what I'm saying? You got little homies, you got big homies. And I know LAPD for a lot of years have declared war on these street gangs. But what I know about the streets is when you fight somebody for so long, you become just like them. You know what I mean? So what I'm asking is, what do you do about your little homies, Chief Beck, the gang bangers that's in your force?
What do you do about your little homies, Chief Beck?
You bring up a valid point. Well, let me finish. Please let me finish. It is very important for new police officers to learn from the experience of those that have gone before them.
One mic.
People like Chief Basinger, like myself, like Chief Perez, who runs this bureau. We've all been doing this for a very long time. And we've seen the Los Angeles Police Department change the way that it thinks about gangs, change the way that it addresses gang violence. This is not the police department that ran the Hammer operations of the 90s. This is a different police department. No, it's not. And there are intervention workers in here who will tell you that. Now, does everybody in the Los Angeles Police Department understand that the way that I do? Do they understand that the way that Chief Basinger does? No. That's our job. Just like it's your job to talk to young men on the street so they understand respect. Because that's what this is all about. I came here tonight because I respect the people in this room. And I hope you respect me. And if we treat each other that way, and if we treat this investigation that way, and we treat where we live and work that way, then we can move forward from this. And we can become a better community, and a better police department, and better partners. And this is an awful tragedy. And I feel awful about it. I know the people in this room feel awful about it,
Keeps happening.
but we need to take from it a lesson. We need to become better.
I have one more question. I don't know if it's for this young man or that young man. Who's in charge of, like the lady said back here, how many LAPD officers have been charged for murder or convicted for the people in the city?
Mr. Garrison?
Inspector General.
Mr. Garrison, do you want to field that question? Or?
Who prosecutes the LAPD?
We prosecute the LAPD.
How many have you prosecuted?
How many LAPD officers are?
Yeah, for murder.
For murder?
Yes.
I don't know the statistic off the top of my head, but.
How do you not know that?
Please, let me talk.
Allow the gentleman.
If your question is on duty uses of force, that's a different question because just last year we did prosecute an LAPD officer for murder and she was convicted, but that was an often used.
Oh, that makes it.
You know, let me address that, can I address that? We go where investigations take us. The case that the DA refers to was a detective who worked for me when I was chief of detectives. And we followed a case that was 2 decades old and arrested her. And that's because it was the right thing to do. That's not because we needed to do it to make some statement. It was because it was the right thing to do. Now, please let me finish. Please let me finish. We will follow this case where it takes us. I'm not afraid of the truth. I'm not afraid to do what we need to do. But I insist that we find out what the truth is before we do it.
So how many convictions of cops?
Hold on. Sir, you have the floor now, sir, please. Your question or comment?
Along the lines of what Commissioner Stovall was saying about what can we do, what can you do, here's what I'd like you to do. See if you come away with the same impression I've got. If you've got a complaint against a police officer, you go to internal affairs. They call it something different, but I can't remember the name. And they hold the investigation on your complaint in the lobby of the historic Bradbury building. In the lobby, on a bench, with a statue of Charlie Chaplin, the silent movie actor. That's where they hold your complaint investigation. Jackie Lacey, she holds her complaint on the 17th floor in the lobby, in the hallway. Are these people serious? When you go there with a complaint, it's conducted next to Charlie Chaplin on a bench or in the hallway where anyone passing through can hear it. Now, I just Rodney Dangerfield thing about respect, drop that stuff, okay? Because I get no respect, and I don't expect it. Because I have embarrassed the police department, humiliated the police department like no one else in this city. For 4 days, I was the chief of police at the Washington Festival. Not a cop in sight. Nowhere in an 8-block square area. They will never forgive me for that, and they will never respect me. But you go there to the Bradbury building to make a complaint and see whether or not you like sitting next to Charlie Chaplin and having fun, rather than having to pay serious attention to what you have to say.
My name is Art Goldberg, and I've been a criminal lawyer doing these kind of cases for 42 years in the Echo Park and general area of Los Angeles. This is the major contradiction that will, unless it's solved, will be back here over and over again forever. The people that investigate and go out on a rollout is the district attorney's office. Let me give you an example of how close the district attorney's office works with the police. I do tons of preliminary hearings downtown at the criminal courts building. And let's say it's the last day they can put on evidence in that. And the DA gets on the phone and says, oh, the officer's on vacation. That's fine. and talks to the officer, thank you for coming in. I knew you would help me out. I knew you would take a day off on vacation. How can that office investigate the people they sleep with every day? Impossible. Impossible. And until the city politicians, including the investigating person that's in charge of this, and the city council people, and all the other offices in this city say that you have to have an outside, independent office that starts from the very beginning of the shooting, not the district attorney who's in bed with the police officer. No. I'm just saying, that's the first thing. Secondly, the complaints in this city. How can you make a complaint to the police department that just hit you over the head? You have to have an independent, outside body. And until you have that, there'll be total cover-ups forever.
Gary Farwell, attorney at law, having been practicing on this, my friend Art there. However, I think this question, each one of you has some responsibility for this, so I don't know who to direct it to. This situation, the risk management would have been lowered, the investigation could be done if whoever disabled the camera, the dash cams, was ever brought to task for that. What has happened to that whole investigation? Who's going to be responsible for that? How are we going to ensure that it doesn't happen again? If there were dash cams as required in certain parts of the city, they don't even need to be anywhere else. It's in South LA. This is where all the action happens. We also would like to see body cams for these officers. Okay? That would shorten this investigation. This investigation will be done. The risk management police commission is worried about, that would lower that. We'd have evidence right there. And lastly, this is somewhat unrelated, but I think that the city and the police department need to establish policies and procedures for the use of helicopters. They stay in the air too long. When are they called out, for what type of reason? Sometimes they're called out because some kids might be drinking beer in somebody's front yard and call out a helicopter. And lastly, how low are they allowed to fly? The lower they fly, the more it disrupts the neighborhood. Totally inconsiderate of people sleeping or trying to handle their business on a daily basis. Those are my two issues.
In-car video is very important to Los Angeles Police Department. It's been a priority in our budget for the last number of years. Unfortunately, as you all know, the city's budget has been decimated. So I had enough money when I first became chief of police. I had enough money when I first became chief of police to do 1/4 of the city. So we did South Los Angeles, South Pier. Next on the schedule, and we started already, and this is so important to me that I took $1 million from my charity foundation and put that in it, is Central Bureau. And that is the bureau that we are in today. We will get there. We haven't got there as fast as I want because of financial issues. But it's not because we don't want to do it. Commissioner Soberon, as soon as he became police commissioner just over a year ago, started raising private money from citizens of Los Angeles to buy body cameras. And we are putting those body cameras through a test phase right now. And as soon as, it is absolutely public, we have discussed it at the police commission many times, it's been in the paper completely many times. We are implementing the body cameras as soon as we pick a system. We have enough money to do a large number of the police officers. It isn't through lack of trying, it's through lack of funding. And we're working on that. And this city's goal is that all police cars will have dash cams and that all police officers will have body cameras. It can't happen soon enough for me, but you have to recognize.
You haven't answered my question. What about the ones that are disabled? And
The
who's
ones that,
responsible for that?
first of all, they weren't disabled, their range was reduced, they've all been fixed, there have been no reoccurrences, they're not in play in new
Anybody
division.
punished for that?
No, nobody's been punished for that because we couldn't find out who did it. Now, but I don't want to go back and forth about this, it's been well reported. They've all been fixed, there have been no reoccurrences.
When the good cops come up
Thank
with
you.
bad cops, they're all bad.
Sir, please, one mic, please.
Hi, I'd just like to start off by letting everyone know who I am so that we're clear. My name is Cheryl Dorsey, and I'm a retired Los Angeles police sergeant. I've spent 20 years on the department, and I have a question, Chief Beck, please, sir. I think it would be helpful if you could tell the family and the rest of us what probable cause there was when the officer stopped Ezell. Because absent probable cause to stop him in the first place, everything else that happened after that becomes moot. And then my question is, how do we avoid this from happening again? Because according to the Los Angeles Police Protective League in their official statement, they said that he was walking down the street and then a violent altercation ensued. So I'm wondering what happened between him walking down the street. We get to do that. And if you're not involved in a crime, then my contact with the officers is consensual and I don't necessarily have to talk to you if I don't want to. So could you please explain that to the family, sir?
And Cheryl, of course, that is important to us, and that will be revealed through the investigation. Wait, I promise. Stop, please. I will not give you half the story. I will not tell you just what we've been told. We have to find out all the facts of the investigation before we make an investigation public. And the standard, as you know, is reasonable suspicion, not probable cause.
Thank you. Sir, next question, please, comment?
My name is Ron Dochez. I'm a high school history teacher right here in this community. I want to start by saying that being a history teacher, I know the history of this department. And to answer the question, since they wouldn't answer, is that in the history of the city of Los Angeles, there has never been one officer that has been prosecuted and convicted for murder. Ever. About 7 years ago, one of my students, a 10th grader, Carlos Alvarez, was murdered by your department. He had a PlayStation controller in his pocket, and your department said they thought it was a weapon, even though the cable was hanging out the pocket. Whatever happened to that? Absolutely nothing. 2 or 3 years ago, Manuel Jimenez was executed in front of the entire Westlake community, shot twice in the head by your officers. All the witnesses said there was no knife, there was nothing, he did nothing. Nothing ever happened. So when they say that they are going to have an independent investigation, we know what that means. It's all part of a mafia that covers each other up. I have concrete proposals. Concrete proposal number 1. I will ask our Councilmember Clarence Price, who's been very responsive to the community. I would ask that you please support the community by presenting a resolution to the LA City Council for the immediate creation of an elected civilian review board that will have hiring and firing power over Los Angeles police officers. Number 2, concrete proposal number 2. I understand what they're saying about the budget, that there's not enough money. Well, if all the lawsuits that go against the LA Police Department for misconduct didn't happen, we would have money to pay for those cameras. So number 2, another concrete solution. Again, Councilmember Price, I would ask that you present a resolution asking for the funds for the immediate allocation of monies to put a lapel camera on every single officer in the Los Angeles Police Department. And lastly, really quickly, Brother Ezell Ford with special needs. And as a teacher, and I do work with students with special disabilities, it's obvious that the LAPD needs special training to handle people with special needs.
Michelle. Well, we may not, everybody may not be completely in agreement here with Mr. Goches and what he just said. He did, Jason, can I finish? Everyone's got different opinions, right? But he did provide solutions. Sure did. I would like to hear more solutions from community members. Thank you.
Good evening, Chief. How are you? I first want to say that I'm a human rights advocate, and I've been in jail, I've been beat, I've been through all of that stuff. And I'm very happy to be a Community Police Advisory Board member with the Los Angeles Police Department. However, it is very, very hard for me to put myself in an officer's position when the victim has no gun. It's very, very hard for me. And when I am sleeping in my bed, I'm thinking that Ezell's spirit is here now. And Ezell is basically saying that that officer who shot me needs to go to jail. And I just want to say that if there was anybody else of color in this room, we would be in jail with no bail or a very, very high bail, trying to get out. And I think that officers that are accused of these type of crimes, they need to go through the exact same process as we do. Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
My name is Lucha, I'm with the Revolution Club. I want to say one thing, and then I want to ask a brief question. To recap, from the beginning of this thing, what we've heard is we need witnesses, we need to investigate, we need to wait for the investigation. We can't do anything until we investigate. In the 5 years from 2007 to 2012, 227 people were killed by the police in LA County. 227 murders by the police, and not a single one of those investigations led to any cops going to jail. If anybody in this room, if all of the Black and Latino people sitting in this room had committed a minor crime, there wouldn't be wait for an investigation, they would be in jail, and then there would be an investigation. So my question is, when is this cop going to be made, indicted, and convicted?
Question?
It's a question.
Yeah.
It's a question. Where's the answer?
When is he gonna be investigated?
Named, indicted, convicted.
Well, you jump enormous chasms with that. We will release the names, as I discussed earlier. We will refer the case to district attorney for consideration. And that consideration could result in the outcomes that you talk about.
Just like all those other 227 murders by the police. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Yeah, I have a statement and I have a question also. I am 73 and I don't look like I have a threat to anyone. They come in my home, they mistreat me and treat me like the perpetrator that they say they're looking for. I'm the mother of a handicapped child who I told couldn't get out of bed. They made me get her out of bed, take her outside on a wheelchair ramp. My mother's 95. She had to get up in the middle of the night. And I have all kind of alarm systems. If somebody was in my house, I would have known it by then. You didn't have to treat me like this. Do they just pick on old women, children, handicapped people, and stuff like that? You know, this has been going on a long time. They say they don't have monies for this, and they don't have monies for that. But I was talking to a friend about something on the news, and I was stating what I had heard, and somebody cut in and said, that's not so. They've been listening to my phone because I have a son that's in prison for a long time, but that don't make me a fella, you know, and a lot of my friends wouldn't come because they said they don't want no repercussions, no tickets, they don't need no problems. We have enough of older citizens trying to live as it is without getting followed, getting license plates, and all these weird things happening to us. And my question is, how many more times are we going to have to come here to hear the same, oh, you know what? We've been told this for many years this because I'm embarrassed when y'all crazy stuff.
Thank you, ma'am. That's what I'm in the statement.
I have another why question for Chief Beck, because we are going to keep asking why. So according to witnesses, Ezell Ford was stopped the week before, on August 8th, and questioned at gunpoint. So why was he stopped?
I have no idea. Now, if somebody will come forward, can I respond?
Listen up, guys, please.
If somebody will come forward, we will find out. The first time I've heard that information. If somebody has that information, we would love to look into it.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Quentin Bailey. I'm a private practice attorney. I'm also the treasurer of the Black American Political Association of California. I also sit on the executive committee of the state conference of the NAACP. And this is going to happen over and over and over and over again. And I think everybody sitting here knows that. And it's happening all over the country. Now, we have the technology, we can land a little flying ship on a comet. But we can't figure out how to do policing without killing people. And I really do think, this is a question for everyone sitting there, you know, how quickly can we move to a non-lethal police force that can do policing without killing people?
I want to remind folks that we're about...
I'd like an answer from everyone.
Thank you, sir.
I certainly think that is something we should aspire to, you know, but we need to make sure that we can defend ourselves against those we need to defend against. I agree. We need to make sure that the policing is transparent, that we are using the kind of force appropriate for the situation. And most importantly, we need to get answers. And that's why we're having this meeting tonight, to get answers. It's frustrating, you know, it's frustrating, I know, but it's a forum that we did not have before. And let's take advantage of it, let's ask the questions, let's demand some accountability, and make sure we can move forward.
Thank you. Can we help you?
What if it was taped? What if it was taped? What if every time a police officer got out of the car, that it was taped?
That'd be great.
Starting in March,
Great.
600 officers are going to be wearing these cameras. And you know who it protects?
Everybody.
Everybody.
That's right.
Both sides of the camera.
That's right.
Both sides of the camera.
That's right.
And what that's going to do, those 600 cameras are going to show the city council, because they didn't pay for them, they're going to show them just how many lives it saved. Just how many. Hours and hours and years of misinformation can be handled with an appropriate video. So that's the plus, and what's the minus? Well, the minus is, well, they're going to just fix the video and it's just going to be this and somebody's going to have access to it. That's not what we're doing. Maybe it's what some other cities do. But the world is watching us, and so what are we doing? We have stakeholders coming, helping make the rules, from the ACLU to the Police Protective League. So you want to ask questions about coming again and again and again? Well, next time, what I want to do is turn on a video and show it.
What do you mean next time?
And that's why
What do you mean next
this
time?
department is going to lead the nation in transparency as officers wear these cameras And all of these situations.
Let's do
We'll
it.
put on your mind. Well, we pay for it.
Thank you for that. Matt, you have the floor? Thank you. Would like everyone please to remind us, please. Thank you. Let's hear from this lady.
My name is Betty Hung. I'm with Asian Americans Advancing Justice Los Angeles. We are the nation's largest civil rights organization serving Asian Americans. We express our deepest condolences to the Ford family, and I want to read an excerpt from a statement that we issued today. Asian Americans Advancing Justice LA expresses sadness and outrage at the fatal shooting of Ezell Ford at the hands of the LAPD and demands a full and transparent investigation of Ford's death. Ford's death comes tragically on the heels of a number of other fatal shootings of African American men by law enforcement officials around the nation, including that of 18-year-old Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. The killings of Ford and Brown by law enforcement expose the systemic and entrenched nature of racial profiling and racial discrimination that African Americans have long endured and fought against in the struggle for civil and human rights. Advancing Justice LA joins the African American community and other civil rights and social justice groups in demanding justice for Ezell Ford, including a full and transparent investigation and an examination of mental health intervention policies by the LAPD.
Hello, my name is Greg Watson. I'm with the Los Angeles Black Workers Center. And I'm just basically speaking. I really don't want to speak, but after noticing over my age really doesn't say anything, and I want to speak for them. And I basically want to say, when I was like in kindergarten, preschool, people never be police officers. You know, it was like role models. Now y'all not no role models no more. So that's how y'all want to show y'all respect. When we see our mothers, our fathers, our cousins getting mistreated, of course, we're not going to respect you guys. It starts with you guys. If I was under arrest and handcuffs, and y'all was talking to me, y'all say, oh, tell me what your friend did. Oh, you know what he did. So tell us what your friend did. And I just have one question for all you guys, because I see he want to speak and take the press for you guys. By you know raising hands, would you stop me? All six, raise your hand. Why would you stop me? Nobody raising their hand. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheldon, we have about 5 minutes left, so we're going to have to really get through it as quickly as possible. It's okay, we'll extend it, but just please move a little bit.
Okay. Black Lives Matter. And I want to know why black people only make up about 13% of the population, but make up about thirds of police-involved shootings. And I also want to know, would the LAPD divest some of their budget to create some jobs in this community? Because we find out that violence is associated with poverty and a lack of economic power. So I want to know what can be done to empower this community to be more self-sufficient, more stable, and more safe. Would you support the councilman by creating some type of budget allocation to create some employment for this impoverished community? Whoever's in charge, or maybe Chief Beck, you know, you can take this one.
City of Los Angeles created 10,000 youth jobs this summer. We kept 32 parks open past midnight.
Where?
We staffed those parks with police officers. We have a cadet program that has 6,000 young men and women of color. We believe in basing our policing in this community. Now, the Los Angeles Police Department is very small for its job. We are much smaller per capita than any other major city. We need to work together on this. Taking from us will not make you safer.
Thank you. Sir, you have the floor. Folks, we want everyone to speak. We want to hear everyone's voice, so please, thank you, sir.
I've been a freelance reporter covering crime and the police for over 20 years, and I thought things had improved, but sometimes I really wonder in terms of transparency. Because I'm a reporter, a young man asked me to help out the parents of a friend of his who was killed by the LAPD in the North Hollywood Division last September. His mother couldn't get a police report. His brother couldn't get a police report. In December, I said, well, you go over to the councilman's office. So I took his brother to the councilman's office in January to ask for this police report from the September killing. And they said, well, they'd look into it. In April, they tell me, oh, it's still under investigation. Now, I want to know from the Inspector General and from the Commissioner how long you think it's appropriate for parents to wait to find out what happened to their children, and whether you're going to set deadlines or are you going to let the police department run these things as long as they think it's politics.
Why does it take so long? And don't parents
In short, can you set, can the commission or the inspector general set any deadlines, or are the police just going to be allowed to investigate these things as long as they want? Waiting for what? Some bullet fragment to blow from the sky?
Something they already got?
So I just want to try to understand, there's a lot of things that are being investigated. So you got use of force that's being investigated. You have complaints, everything from police mistreatment, racial profiling, all these other things. There are a lot of investigations going on. So I'll talk kind of broadly on this. The use of force investigations, they take a while, and the reason why is you have, as has been noted by lots of people here, you have a unit that investigates these, and you have, I think last year, 100 or so of the uses of force. So I have a staff of about 42 people, and you were talking about sometimes, very few bullets to a lot of bullets, multiple shooters. There are a lot of different scenarios. It's very hard to put a time limit on when something is going to be investigated, because in my view, things have to be investigated correctly. And that sometimes means you can do it quickly, and sometimes because there's a lot of moving pieces, it's going to require you to take longer. So if I just said, we're going to take 4 months and we're going to investigate everything in 4 months, what that's going to happen is, in the investigations that you really want answers to, if you're rushing it through the system, that means people are not going to be talked to. That means evidence is not going to be scientifically examined. That means all the things that you want in order to show what happened in this may not occur. And I know everybody wants it. Believe me, when I get the investigations, I want to do them as quickly as possible because I have questions and I want them answered as quickly as I can. The problem is, and there's no answer that's going to satisfy them, the problem is that in order to do the investigation, we've got to send bullets out to be examined. We've got to talk to the coroner's office. You've got the DA involved. You've got multiple people. Just tonight, there were officers going and canvassing the neighborhood to see if there were any additional witnesses that had information on this shooting. Because what's going to determine a lot of these investigations are what people see and what people come and talk to. Because I'll be frank with you. If I just look at the data, if I look at the bullet, I look at what happens, it's going to be very hard to know what really happened sometimes in some of these situations. What I need is, I need people that see what happens to go forward and talk about it. Because then everyone says, well, you have the evidence, you have everything else, but the only way I can examine whether a statement that's being made to me is, during investigation is true, is to have the brave citizens that see some of this stuff come forward and talk about that. So that means there's going to be mechanisms out there to go and get this information. Or what happens if I have someone who tells me X is what happened, and I have the scientific information, that I have to wait for, whether it's ballistic reports or any other scientific evidence that's going to show that's a lie. If I say we're going to be done in 3 months, and I can't get that information, who gets shortchanged? You do. Who ends up getting affected by it? You do. So as much as I want the investigations to be done as quick as possible, as you do, there is a reason why they go through this deliberative process. It's because I don't want anything to be missed. I don't want someone to tell me X, tell me they didn't do it, or the person attacked them, and I don't have the scientific evidence to show that's a lie. I don't have witness statements to come and tell me that that's a lie. So, yes, would I love to make a deadline and come and be able to say I have quick answers for you all the time, or have the department come up with that? I would love to do that. I love to do the only person who's going to shortchange is you and the community, because if you want these things absolutely investigated correctly, with all the questions, and in this case, why was he pulled over? What happened? All the stuff that's going to require there to be an investigation that's driven not by some arbitrary time, but by making sure that everyone is absolutely investigating things the right way.
Can a mother wait 2 years then for a dead child's police report? 2 years?
Next question. Next question.
This isn't exactly a question, it's a comment, but it goes like this, blah, blah, blah. I've been doing these things for 30 years, and you hear the same damn thing, and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed, and you're getting the same freaking answers. Oh. This is a disaster area. In a disaster area, they always find money. There's cameras. So my heart really bleeds for this family because it never should have happened. Because their cameras should have caught it right away. And Chief Beck, you actually answered that former officer when she said, what was the probable cause? You said, I don't know yet. Can't you just ask the cop that did it? Why the hell did you stop it? What was the probable cause? What's up with that? I am so, and thank you, YJC, Youth Justice Coalition. Yes, we need something independent. I have followed the district attorney's office for 30 years since they refused to prosecute a friend of mine's brother who was shot 7 times in the back. No prosecution. There's always an excuse, and you know damn well. I don't know if your office is any different, but I don't think so. So unless it becomes us and it's independent, ain't nothing going to change, and you know it. I hope.
First question, Ezell was known to the community, according to witnesses, also by the police, as someone who had a mental illness. So did the LAPD officers stop to call PERT, which is a psychiatric emergency response team? If not, why not? If they did, why didn't they wait until PERT arrived?
Those are all questions that will be answered in the investigation. I'm not going to give you half an answer. I'm not going to give you one side of the story. You don't know the answer, and neither do I.
Ask them, do they ever call them?
The question will be asked, and it will be answered.
Folks. For the officer who did it, is he put on leave, and if he is he on paid leave? Is he on paid leave if he is?
That's a follow-up question.
Both the officers are assigned to home duty currently. And the rules of their employment state that while they're being assigned to home duty, they will be paid.
Please.
A solution for your budget, which YJC has been working on for a while, is you take 1% of all law enforcement, which includes LAPD, district attorneys, blah, blah, blah. It can open 500 peace builders and individual workers, 50 youth centers, and 25,000 youth jobs. That is the solution.
Thank you for your comment.
I just want to say you can't build peace with a peace, right? Now, this question is, was this a usual patrol for the officers that was involved? Second question is, are they known to the community? Not no names, but are these officers known to the community?
These are officers that are regularly assigned this division, doing what they regularly do.
Go ahead, sir.
My name is Julius Simmons, and I'm a community activist.
We can't hear it.
My name is Julius Simmons, and I'm a community activist. And I just want to make a statement that, you know, like I said, our youth, they're wearing their pants down and all like that. I'm saying this to the community, that we should all try to get our kids and stuff to come up, because that's how come a lot of them getting shot. When they go to the room, they got to pull their pants up. And the police said he was reaching for something all the time. I look at every statement that comes up when one of these young brothers gets shot. So like, it's something should be done, like if, you know, like people don't have no gun, like the kids running, when they gotta run, they gotta reach to pull their pants up. And now you give them open season to shoot our kids because they walk around with a fashion statement thinking they cool with their pants down on their head. But that's how they get shot and all like that. And it's going all across the country. This is happening to our youth. So what I'm saying is, look at it like that and try to find some kind of solution. Do something to save our kids.
Thank you.
Okay, good evening. My name is Leanne Arnold. I'm a master peace builder, literally, having gotten a negotiation, conflict resolution, and peace building master's degree from California State University. The first thing that we've learned in any problem-solving situation is that we have to have a clear understanding of the problem. So Chief Beck, I appreciate what you said about getting to the truth. But what I will say is hopefully you can appreciate that the truth is relative. Because if you put a cup of water that's at the halfway mark in front of someone, they might see it as half empty and the other person might see it as half full. The argument for having an independent investigation is to find out whether the water was poured in or poured out. And that's the whole point of having an independent investigation. Someone separate and apart from the viewpoint has to make the determination. That's my comment. Secondly, I work as a special education teacher for LAUSD. And as one of the other speakers said, I want to know specifically what efforts have been made on the department's behalf in the way of like in a corporate situation where corporations have to do diversity training or sensitivity training. What has the department done in the way of dealing with people with special needs and racial differences? Racial differences, because the outrage is the fact that this is not happening to white boys. It's just not.
Well, a couple of questions there. One, this is not the Los Angeles Police Department that I joined. This is not the Los Angeles Police Department of my father. 43% of the Los Angeles Police Department is Hispanic. The majority of the Los Angeles Police Department is made up of minorities, including my command staff. So we are working within the organization to reflect this community, and we do very accurately. So not only because it's the right thing to do, but so we're better able to understand the community and better able to identify with the community. So that's very important. On the special needs side, every officer in the academy gets training on interaction with special needs folks. Every officer that is assigned to our Skid Row area gets additional training on interaction with people with special needs. We have in-service training. Now, that doesn't mean we're perfect at this. That doesn't mean we can't get better, because everybody can. But the Los Angeles Police Department is a national demonstration night at the site for interacting with people with special needs. People from other departments come to see how we do it. That doesn't mean we can't get better. And that doesn't mean that everybody is great at it, just like with teachers. But we understand how important it is, and we're working towards being as good as we can possibly be.
Right, and I just want to say, because I had to go through 40 hours of training before I could go into a special education environment. And I wanted to ask to what extent, because with the Marlene Pinnock case, I'm a member of National Action Network Los Angeles, and with the Marlene Pinnock case, when we went to the CHP office in Culver City, they said basically their extent of training is like 4 hours. And basically the primary message that is sent is that when you approach a person who has a mental disorder or some special need, when you approach them, it tends to escalate their violence or escalate their aggression. So basically, it sends the message that as an enforcer of the law, that you need to get them before they get you. And that needs to be turned around. It needs to be turned around so that they don't have to fear. We don't have to fear and be here in this situation again.
Thank you, sir. We're quickly running out of time, folks, so we make our comments brief.
Jubilee Shire Coalition for Community Control Over the Police. This community is united to support the family of Ezell Ford and also to support the family of Omar Abrego, who was murdered by the same Newton Police Division on August 2nd, 9 days before they killed Ezell, on 69th Street in Maine, right around the corner. And if the autopsy results had supported the officer's version, it would have been on the 6 o'clock news last night. Since 1983, only one California police officer has been charged with murder in the line of duty. That was Johannes Messerly in Oakland for killing Oscar Grant, because the people in Oakland would not get stalled out by this dog and pony show. They would strengthen things to the very much. And in 8 days, Johannes Messerly was charged with murder. On Thursday, we're going with the family of Ezell Ford to the district attorney's office at 210 West Pebble Street at 3 o'clock. We want everybody in Los Angeles to be in school to join us to demand justice. We're not going to be stalled out by these clowns that are murdering people in our neighborhoods.
But more than I said, I have a question. Everyone can hear. Will the investigation be conducted hopefully better than what you did to one of your own, Roosevelt Dorn? You see, I know a lot of people suffering amnesia. See, but that investigation, when you had him there, you could have waited on him. I'm talking about excessive force. Any one of you gentlemen can answer that or answer
that. Sir, what was that, the case? I'm sorry. Thorn.
I'm telling you, keep moving. And don't stop, we'll rush you. My question is, are we talking about mental challenges? Obviously, Roosevelt Dorn was challenged as a result of your investigation of his issue. And he was in a mental state. And you got him there, up there in the mountain. Instead of you waiting till he come out and like that, you went in and you bombed him out. That's excessive force. And I just wonder if you will
I think they're talking about Dorner.
attitude in dealing with this investigation of this matter. Anyone can answer that.
Well, you're talking about Christopher Dorner. Christopher Dorner. Christopher Dorner died in a cabin in Big Bear, surrounded by the San Bernardino County Sheriff, not the Los Angeles Police Department.
Thank you, sir, for the comment. Next question, please.
My name is Shirley Watson King, and I'm a resident of the 9th District. And I live on 41st Street, and my police department is Newton Street Department. And my question is for the police vet, because I am the mother of a black son, just like Ezell Ford's mother. And a lot of the things that are happening why black men are being killed is because of the tactics used by LAPD officers. They approach black men assuming that every black male is in a gang, has marijuana, or the first question, and I'm very passionate because my son and nephew walking down the street, bag of food in their hand, stopped by the cops, told to put their food on the ground, get up against the wall, what gang are you from? Where's the marijuana? And I had to send, when they came home, oh, I hate the police. I did, and I said, what happened? And they told me I had the sense enough to call Newton Street, ask for the captain. He tried to tell me this was protocol or whatever. Sometimes we live in a community where there's a lot of crime and all of that. And what happened was he and the two officers that stopped my son and nephew came to my house because I demanded it. And the officer, oh, well, miss, you live in a community, you don't know all the crime. I said, I've been in this community 50 years. I was born in this community.
They don't live in the community. They don't live in the community.
And one officer was so angry, you know, when my son tried to listen to his account, listen to the other officer's account, when my son tried to speak, oh, man, he's a grown man. I said, I don't care if he's a grown man. I don't plan to be one of these mothers out here crying and in grief because my son has been shot down. I followed up. And my question is, why is it, it's a traffic violation, it's always something. A week ago, my son and 4 friends were in Westwood, California, making a right turn, stopped by an officer, told, oh, you made a wide turn, pulled out of the car, a gun was placed to his friend's head. The officer told him he would smoke him. My son and the other 3 young men, clean cut, in college, work every day, were handcuffed and put in the car, but they had the sense enough to ask for the captain. The captain came out there, told them, this should have never happened. Are you training officers on how to approach we feel like prisoners in our community. But we have a right to walk and to be in the community. We have to teach our sons, when you stop, don't move, don't do, I'm not sagging, they're not doing all this. I want to know how they're being trained because they're using traffic violations to stop them. Oh, we got to make sure, are they in a gang? All of this, why is that in the community? So we don't feel like we can walk. You can't walk while you're black. You can't drive while you're black. Now can you breathe while you're black? The chief, the best training officer.
We train our officers to respect people. Well, if you want to ask me a question, then you have to listen to my answer. If they don't respect people, then I ask you to report them, as it seems you did. And then we will deal with it appropriately. If we need to retrain them, we will. If we need to discipline them, we will. If we need to fire them, we will. But we have to know about it. So if you come forward, then we can deal with these issues.
Thank you. Chief, this comment for you. Earlier you asked us not to prejudge. Well, your office is prejudged every day. It's called racial profiling. And people are here tonight because we are tired of you guys wantonly killing and murdering black and brown people in our own communities. We should be able to walk down our streets feeling safe. And another thing, we don't want to hear no more excuses. We want this solved.
My name is William Godson. Are there any more family members here? Well, basically, that's the only real reason I came was to speak to the family members. I'll just say it to everybody else real short and simple. These people come to our communities and make life living for us hard. We got to start going to their communities and make life for them hard. Wherever they live at, that's what we got to take this fight. And going in front of the police station ain't working. It ain't worked since Rodney King. Going in front of the courthouse, going in front of City Hall ain't work. But there's other people in this country and other countries take the fight till they front door. Take the fight to where their children go to school. And I guarantee you this shit will change. All power to the people.
So, I'm gonna keep it short. I just got a few things to say. I'll wait for Officer Beck. I'll wait for you.
Go ahead, sir.
Ready? All right. I wish everybody had stayed. I just got a few things that I gotta say. I'll make it as quick as possible. Other folks have been kind of long with it. I don't agree with that brother, though I love him. You know what I'm saying? And I even had a brother who was a police officer. He passed away. I almost even became a cop myself. I know all cops aren't bad. My brother wasn't bad. He was cool. I know there's a lot of brothers that's on the force that ain't bad. But there's a lot of racism that goes on in here, and there's an organization within the organization that's very racist, and they just don't deal with us right. They pull us over, first thing comes out their mouth is, have you been convicted of a felony? Do you ask white boys if they've been convicted of a felony when you pull them over for a money traffic violation? That's one done. Second thing is, there's accusations that are going on in the community that there's a conspiracy going on to actually kill black men, and that the coroner's office is actually stealing body parts from us and selling them to other people. Now, to dispel any of that conspiracy that's going on, we should have cameras or something so everybody can be transparent so things like this can't fly off. This ain't no science fiction stuff. I got one more thing to say now. Last thing I have to say is to my own people that's out here. The real appeal is really on us. They've been killing us since before the police used to be their family. Okay? They've been killing us all the time. All everybody's doing over here is getting off and blowing off some steam and all of that that's going on. It's not going to really create too much change. That's right off the rip. You want to create change? Group economics. Circulate black dollars with black people, circulate Latino dollars with Latino and black people, take it away from the big corporations that fund all of this. Go higher than them. We have the mayor, we vote them in. We have the governor, we vote them in. Hold on, man, because he has something to say. This is important, and it's of substance for our community. We need to get together. Then, the biggest point is, and I don't know if anybody want to hear it, but the biggest killers of black men in this community are us. We're the ones that's killing the most of us. And folks don't want to hear it, but this is the truth. So I don't want to hear no clapping, because I want to hear people actually getting out in the community, working with our people, working with the gangs, quelling the warfare that's going on and all of that that's going on, and let's bring some peace amongst our community, our neighborhoods, because we're really not a community, we're neighborhoods. So let's bring some peace among and some unity amongst our folks, and start circulating money against each other. Educate yourself. Okay, educate yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Learn about economics. All right?
Thank you. Thank you.
And y'all done rushed everybody. These people that said something and got long-winded with all these folks, and I'm telling some real stuff.
You are telling some real stuff.
Thank you.
We hear it.
Educate yourself.
Hi, my name is Savannah. I'm 15 years old, and just today at school we were talking about this, and to know that people my age in my community is getting killed, that's around my age, is terrifying for me and my peer group to even walk out on the street knowing that we could just get killed by holding something in our pockets. It is so terrifying for us, and we talk about this every single day, just to know we could be walking on the streets and we could get killed because they think we have something on us.
And how would it change? How could you envision a place where that wouldn't happen? How would you do that? Yeah, what would you do? People that are here, what would you ask them to do, or your community? What would you do to change that perception? What would we all do? I'm just asking. She's one of our most vulnerable.
So blaming the victim.
Young people in this community. I'm just asking a question.
To come together and to understand everything and to just be united and stop.
Thank you.
What would you do is so blaming the victim.
Before you go, one of the things that I like to do, like to offer, by the way, I'm Earl Pacer. I'm the director of the Office of Operations. First of all, before I talk to you, I have to say that I've been with the LAPD now for almost 40 years. and I know I don't look it. And like Chief Beck mentioned earlier in his presentation, I've seen the LAPD long before it looked and acted like it did today. To the question of whether or not this organization has changed, I remember early on in my career how I was treated. And one of the reasons that I joined this organization was to help orchestrate change within. Have we gotten there yet? No, we haven't. But the fact is, there was a time when nobody in this room would have been here talking to us. We've not, let me finish. We've come a long way in terms of outreach, in terms of communication, establishing an opportunity for us to communicate the way we're communicating tonight. To the point the young lady made just a second ago, I've spent the latter part of my career reaching out to young people to provide them an opportunity to grow up in a neighborhood and a community that's free of crime and free of fear. Sir, you've had your opportunity to speak. Let me speak to this young lady, please. Young lady, my offer to you is you tell me the time and the place at your school, and I'll be there. That's my pledge.
We have a comment. Hold on a second. I think that today I heard that back then officers used to be, connected with young people and used to, like, a boy would get in trouble, like the officer would come talk to him and be like, okay, if you do what you have to do, I'll take you to school, or I'll help you. I think they should have that relationship again, where the officers will help the youth community.
Again, my pledge to you tonight is you just tell me the date and the time, and we'll start that process as soon as you get ready.
I'm a youth organizer with the Youth Justice Coalition. I joined the YJC when I was 12 years old and left on the streets of South Central with a 2-year-old boy as 11 of my community members, including my mother, got hauled away. That's my personal experience, and that's why I'm here. Now, I have one question. I have actually two. Why are community forums not organized immediately to ease tension in the community, to allow room for question, to allow open space for the community when incidents like this occur? Why does it require for the community to have to organize this? Why do we have to be reaching out to 1,000 different people to try to get this put up and set together? That's my question number one. Number two is that there are solutions that have been proposed in terms of budget allocations. We lead the nation in police-involved shootings. We have one of the biggest police departments in the world, and yet we can't afford 1% of police budgets, of court budgets, of everyone it takes to incarcerate someone, to put into alternatives. 1% would give us $100 million. $100 million to go to 25,000 youth jobs, to go to 500 youth peace workers. And I'm just going to highlight something. Maybe they're gone. There was literally 20 peace workers here. If they would have been in that community, SO4 would still be alive. I'm sure of that. 50 youth centers open from literally 365 days a year. 1% of your budget would do that. And then the last thing is that these community forums would occur in those community centers. People would have literally places to go. People would know, these intervention workers would know that Ezell Ford had a mental health issue. They get to know the community. I know that when I have an issue in my community, I can contact Tafu. He will go out and resolve an issue. I know him because he's a friend of mine. Police officers are not trained to be friends of ours. And even if they go into communities and schools, like the officer just said, what good does it do to have you present in my school if I go into the community and you shoot me down? The question is yes. Why are community forums not organized immediately? And two, can you commit to supporting the 1% campaign to making sure that this ends in our communities now?
1%. That was a good question. Initially we want to see if we can get some more information, get some more facts. When it was clear that those facts, the information wasn't coming, that was important that we have the form. Ideally, yes, when we have a form, we'd like to get some answers, we'd like to get some responses. So it wasn't organized immediately because the information we sought wasn't forthcoming, wasn't available. We decided to move forward with the form, knowing well that there's still going to be lots of questions to answer. But we thought it was important to demonstrate good faith, goodwill, and an intent to do the right thing. In terms of budget allocations, I certainly would join you in trying to shift the dollars around in our budget. We certainly need more money for prevention, not apprehension. But you got a role to play too. When we have these budget discussions, you need to be at the table. You need to be organizing, you need to be involved. Not asking that. Okay, well good. Don't just do it once, keep doing it. Stay involved. Thank you.
Can you actually agree to a meeting, all of your departments, can you sit down and say, let's talk about what 1% from our budget looks like? Because that's how you're going to get peace in these communities, in our streets.
I'm always willing to talk.
And that's a question, I guess, for everybody. Because at the end of the day, 1% population is from DA's office, it's from LAPD.
Sorry, we have very limited time now.
My name is Whitney again with Youth Justice Coalition. I want to ask actually something of the audience. Can everyone stand up if you've had a family member, a loved one, or someone you know shot and killed by either LAPD or the sheriffs?
One is too many.
Right? One is too many. There should be nobody standing up in this room. These are the people we're accountable to, right? As elected officials, as community members. And I would like, in detail, for you to explain to us how you're going to be accountable to Ezell Ford's family. Are they going to receive victims assistance to help bury their son? Where people, what steps have already been taken with the family?
It's a discussion with the family, and that's what the council.
I understand, but what about all of these families, right? Can we have a clear understanding about what is done to support the people in this room that are standing? What's the protocol? Thank you.
I think that.
My name is Aisha. I'm also from the Youth Justice Coalition. And one thing I want to say is that I support this 1% campaign because before I even knew about it, organizing stuff like that, there was nothing to say. There's no resources out here. There's no jobs for us young people. So when y'all want to tell us to pull up our pants or something like that, y'all need to give us a resource or something to do. Because nothing stops this violence and these bullets like a job can do. Literally, y'all know a lot of people would change their life if they had a job or something to do. But the reality is they have nothing out here, no resources. People got to check that box when they get convicted for small things for that never said life. I also have two questions for y'all. The first thing is, why did it take so long for medical people to respond when it was only down the street? And second of all, did either of the officers that were involved have any civilian complaints or past discipline write-ups?
Your first question?
My first question was, why did it take so long for paramedics to come when it was down the street? Literally the next spot, they could have just walked over.
And I don't know the answer to that.
I'm pretty sure that's not an investigation.
Can I finish? I don't have the answer to that. That will be something that's included in the investigation. The fire department protocols are different than ours, so we'll look into their response time. We'll see what the issue was. I can't give you an answer.
Is there anything that you can tell us that's not an investigation that's going to help or give any hope to anybody in this room?
I've already told you many things that are not in the investigation.
When are you going to file criminal charges?
Thank you, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Michael Richardson from the policeman. My question is to Colonel Price, Mr. Soloff, and to the Chief. When are you going to really and truly involve the community into all this process, right? You're creating an atmosphere of fear. Fear of the gangs, fear of the police, right? Where do we go, right? Until we come together as a community, as a whole community, the police department, politicians, the community, right, and build a better way, we're going to still have the same thing 5, 10, 15 years from now. But the difference is, as this fear increases, right, more police officers are going to die, more community people are going to die. And it's absolutely ridiculous when we can do something now.
Thank you, sir. You know, you came at almost at the end of the line when we were 15 minutes over 9 o'clock, but your point is so poignant. Part of what tonight should have been about, and parts of it could have been, is about what is the community willing to do? What is the partnership that could be developed here with not only Mr. Price, but with the local Newton division? What could happen so that no more of this kind of shootings occur, no more of this confrontation with the community, and that we build those bridges that you're talking about. So yes, there is opportunity, but that opportunity has to be goodwill from the community and goodwill from folks that are making decisions. And so I think that your question is really important and pivotal, and I think that Mr. Price might address that, and I think that the local captain, the commanding officer here, also will have to address that at some point, and I think there should be a follow-up. This is only the beginning, an opening to an opportunity, an opening for, this community has long had that need, and that hasn't been open, and I'm hoping that tonight is the beginning of that opening. So thank you for your comment, by the way.
Hi, greetings everyone. My name is Tracy and I'm with the Youth Justice Coalition. I have some very simple questions and I would like to see with a show of hand what your answers are. If it's yes, please put your hand up. How many of you are taking notes of the questions that are being asked today? So you have someone in the audience that's actually jotting down questions?
I think all these meetings, just for your information, are all being memorialized. Everything that's been said.
I just want to be very thorough. Okay, my second question is, now that we've asked those questions, are you willing to come back to a forum where those questions can be answered? How many of you are willing to come back to a forum similar to this to answer those questions? Okay, can you get the cameras to just make sure that we have that document? Okay, excellent. So I appreciate that, and I'm so happy to be there, and I will be documenting the answers. Right, because clearly, and again, nobody that's in this room had to be here today. So I just really do want to appreciate you all, and you understand the frustration that you've heard for the last couple of hours. I get you. I have a 6-year-old, right? I just want to protect and serve my son. One other thing, we talk a lot about police departments, police officers, and there's been mention of peace builders. I just want to emphasize that the way that we're going to stop police killings is to replace police officers with peace builders. Now there's one thing that, just 2 seconds, I promise. There's one thing that isn't happening in your training, and it's that peace builders love, respect, have concern, and regard for the communities that they come from. And that's not something you can train someone else to do. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for those recommendations, by the way. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for being here. My name is Ezell. I represent Laura and Ceasefire, YJC, Newton CPAC, and 77 CPAC. Chief, I would like to ask you, when are you going to start implementing some of the soft bureau procedures that are going on there that Chief Green is doing there to Central Bureau? Or South Central, because we are Central, but we are also South. But we are treated very different in the Central versus the South. The South, I can tell you that they have started bridging that gap. Chief Green comes to community meetings and has regular community meetings, not forums where they have a moderator who is, moderating a conversation.
What are you saying?
I'm saying, Francisco. I'm saying that, when the chief comes, he sits down with us, the captains from the station, when there's a new captain of the station or South Bureau, he brings them to community meetings. And I would like to invite you to please invite the Central Bureau to do the same. When our captain was removed from Newton, I asked for you to come and speak to the community. Your deputy chief told me that that was his job, not your job. And if I'm a CPAC member and an officer of yours could tell me to stop rolling my eyes while he's talking, then I call that disrespectful. Like I said, I am a community leader. And a slow should not be telling me this because he's supposed to be setting an example for the rest of the officers to follow. So, with all my respects to you, you know, we were there to support you to become the chief. Now I ask that you please support my community, the Newton area, and that you start making these officers become a little bit more, less aggressive, more respectful, and the approach needs to change to respect the community members that they're approaching and not demand respect, but respect, and the community will respect them in return. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
Last comment.
Hi guys. My name is Juanice. I live across the street actually. I'm not too big on talking, so just shaking my voice and I talk awfully quick. But my question isn't so much for these gentlemen up here. I know it would be very wise, but I don't know who they are. But it's more for you guys. You see, we have been fighting with politics for many, many years. And it seems that when one thing gets fixed, another thing breaks. Okay? Now, when I walked across the street, I asked the officer, what's going on over there? He didn't give me an answer. He said it was a conference. A conference? I'm like, a conference for what? Doesn't give me an answer. So I go, I'm being protected by my friend, you know, so I go, I walk to the class, and I come back with my friend, and she asked one of the other young gentlemen a question. It wasn't one of the African-American people, but she asked him what's going on. Couldn't give us a clear answer, you know? So we went to ask one of the people who were standing outside talking, and he let us know that these kids out here are being killed. Okay? My brothers and my sisters are dying. And you have to wonder whose fault is it? Is it the policemen that are showing them that are being forced with them, or what? What's going on? But then I come in here and I look at my family. And I see people who are ages 30, 40 years old. I want you to look your left and your right and you tell me, where are your children? Why are they not here and knowing about this when their brothers and sisters were being killed? My mama kept me near as a child. She was my mother. And she protected me and my sisters. Where are your children? Why are they not here with you? Hear about this killing. People being murdered in our community. That's all I have to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long night, and I know it's been an emotional night. We've heard from a lot of people tonight. Some of the things that people said here make perfect sense. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed in this community. But I gotta just throw it out to you guys. Okay? The fixing starts with you. Yes. The fixing starts with the people that. Hear my thought. Hear my thought.
Did the community shoot him down? No, it was LAPD.
I'm not suggesting. Please hear my comment, and then you can comment back. It's okay to have passion. It's okay.
Oh, okay.
My comment was just this. It takes a partnership, right? A real partnership. Holding the officers and folks here that are before you, right? You have the chief here. Holding those guys accountable for how you're policed in this community will change how things are on the ground. I mean, I'm an optimist that way. The Human Relations Commission is committed to being in that process. When people engage in their communities and they're willing to stand up, I don't think I was disrespecting the community when I said that they are the solution and so are the officers here.
You are
I hope that I was.
He's disrespecting the community.
It starts.
That's why the community is here. We're trying to be the solution.
Listen, we can disagree here. I'm sorry, but we can disagree on how I phrase that, okay? But ultimately what I'm saying is,
who
when
pays
you get
this
involved,
man?
things change. And when you hold public officials accountable, things change. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out here today, for expressing your views, and for being passionate about what you believe. We believe that that's the way that we've got to move forward. But before you leave, let me ask Councilman Kern Price to come up, I'm sorry, and say a few words to close the meeting.
Thank you. Let's thank Justice for his job in moderating. Let's give a hand, please. Now, let me thank you for your attendance here today. And you're right, you should be holding me accountable. I'm your council representative. You're supposed to hold me accountable. That's why we're meeting here tonight, and that's why we're going to continue meeting until we find the answer. One thing is clear tonight, we're not perfect. We make mistakes. Putting on a uniform doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. Putting on a suit tie doesn't mean we're going to work together.
Mine in the church. Should be ashamed of yourself.
We'll follow up meetings. Really follow up meetings that we need to have to get the answers out.
And we get going. All these things. You want to write? I got my bike.